Hello, flickin' fanatics. After waiting years, that's right, I said years, the Batman has finally arrived in theaters, brought to us by Warner Brothers, Matt Reeves, and DC Comics. Here's my early non spoiler review, and my cats are going crazy. We'll see you right after this. Hey, here I am. All right, guys. I got guys and gals. Um, I got an early screening, a fan screening for the Batman. I got to see it 2 days before it came out, so that is here Tuesday night, 7 p.m. showing in IMAX because it was an IMAX event. And when I say I've been very, very excited for this film, I think I'm underselling it a little bit. This is right up there with Dune. Ironically, back to back, Warner Brothers producing my two most anticipated films. And we know how I felt about Dune and how that lived up to the expectation. Did Batman? Well, we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to do a little bit of breaking down some of my thoughts without getting into plot spoilers and things like that. You don't have to worry. This is a safe place. I know most of you have not seen the film yet. Goose, you need to stop doing that. All right. So let's get into it. The first thing that I want to talk about is actually the soul of the film. And you might think I'm talking about Robert Pattinson. Actually, I'm talking about Michael Giacchino because we know a movie is not a movie without its score. And Giacchino, once again, is firing on all cylinders. My cats kill me. He did such an amazing job of capturing the visceral nature of Batman, of Gotham, of that like sense of dread for both like from the criminal's perspective, from some of the action and things like that. But when he needed to do something beautiful, mournful, he was able to capture all of that. So I really wanted, Jekin has always done a really great job, but I really want to make sure that I took note of that. So excellent job. I already had listened to the soundtrack all the way through several times before seeing this movie. So I was prepared for how incredible it was going to be. Can't speak enough about that. So let's get into some of the casting because this was a movie that every time they announced anything about the cast, I was stoked. I think obviously the first thing that came out was Robert Pattinson, to which I was like, ooh, interesting. I haven't seen a lot of his work outside of the obvious, and so I started doing my due diligence and research, and then became a big Pattinson fan before the film came out. And how did he do as Batman? Well, it's hard for me to say that he is my favorite Batman, but not to say that he's not or can't be. I think he does so many things that are what I love to see in the comics, like Long Halloween, like Batman Earth One. The emoting is really good. You know, it sounds stereotypical to say, but the brooding is excellent, and he's very good at brooding. He does so much work with his body and with his eyes without saying anything. There's a lot of moments of levity even in the movie that are done just by glances or stares, which again, this is all Matt Reeves' baby, and Matt Reeves did an excellent job with the timing of that. But getting back to Pattinson, now everyone likes to do the compare and contrasting of how somebody's Bruce Wayne is versus how their Batman is, because, you know, they're kind of two separate characters living within the same body. And I will say, just to give you a fair warning, this movie is very, very Batman heavy and kind of light on the Bruce Wayne. I won't get into that much more past that. But I think Pattinson's an excellent Batman. And I won't say that his Bruce Wayne leaves anything to be desired. I think that we need to see more of it. And that's weird to say after just watching a 3-hour movie, but I would love to see more Bruce Wayne moving forward. But you can see the torment and everything that Bruce Wayne has gone through, and you can see that he has this this unrelenting force, and I love seeing that. I'm going to say "and" about 300 times because this isn't a scripted review. This is just kind of quick thoughts right out of the theater. Pattinson was great. I loved him. He could be my favorite Batman. He's in contention. I think this is also in contention to be my favorite Batman movie. Again, hard to say. Just quick thoughts right out of the theater. I need time to process. 3 hours is a lot. It's like watching Fellowship of the Ring, and right after you're like, So how does that compare to the rest of cinema? And you're like, yeah. So no spoilers. All right, well, let's talk about the adversary, because what is the hero without the villain? The adversary being Riddler, and as is common knowledge, even though they try to hide it in the trailers, so hopefully I'm not spoiling anything here, but Paul Dano is the Riddler, and Paul Dano from There Will Be Blood and Prisoners. Paul Dano is a fantastic actor. He does a great job here. There are moments where maybe it seems like he goes a little over the top, but I think it all kind of fits within this world that Matt Reeves is creating. He is a very emotionally and mentally damaged individual, and we get to learn more about that. Paul Dano was excellent. Most of the movie, you are getting more voice work than you are actually physical performance, but I did enjoy everything that we got here, and wouldn't mind if this wasn't the last time we saw of him. So also moving on to Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz. This was honestly, when all the casting came out and they said Zoe Kravitz as Selena Kyle, I went, that's perfect. She's got the look down. She's got a jawline that could cut bricks. And I think she has that dangerous, fierce, and also sensual nature about her. And it comes across very well here. I think we get emotionally attached to Selena Kyle with limited information. Again, I apologize. I am my own kind of Catwoman with my cats running around in the background. I want to see more from her again. So much is done with Selena Kyle in this 3 hours, and I think it was just the perfect amount. And I will say Zoe Kravitz is my Catwoman. Sorry, Anne Hathaway and Michelle Pfeiffer and Eartha Kitt and Lee Merriweather. Zoe Kravitz is it for me. Everything she did was perfect, and this is the most I've ever understood Selena Kyle as a character. So props all around for that. Now let's talk about one of the standouts for me, and I was hoping that it would be too. He's not in the entire film, but he is in it more than I thought he was, and that's Colin Farrell as Oswald Cobblepot, or Oz, the Penguin. Really great. And as grounded and gritty as this movie seems to be, and it is, there's a lot in this film that is more comic accurate than anything we've seen as far as tone and characteristics. And I think this is the most comic-y Penguin that we've ever gotten. I love that. And I think we get the mafiosa elements. No, Amelia Allen, we are not doing whatever that is today. And we know that Colin Farrell is going to be doing an HBO Max series, so this is not the last we're going to see of him. And at first I was like, interesting. I don't know how invested I am in that. After seeing this movie, I'm very invested into seeing where we can go with Oswald's character. Now, there's a lot of characters in this movie. People wondering, why does it got to be 3 hours long? Well, that's one of the reasons. Is there's a lot. It's a lot of movie. And I think when you take some of the best Batman stories, that's kind of what you have to do. I always said Batman would be very well served as a serialized, like a long form series, like a 10-episode series. And I feel like this was kind of trying to capture that element because the movie almost feels like it's broken into chunks a little bit. And it almost feels like 3 episodes of epic, grandiose, gritty television compacted into one movie. So I love that about it. I really quickly want to cover Carmine Falcone, played by John Turturro, Andy Serkis, obviously playing Alfred, and Commissioner Gordon, which is Jeffrey Wright. Now, I don't want to spend 40 minutes doing this review, so I will just say that they were all exceptional, pleasant surprises. I didn't know how much we would get of any of them. But I will say Jeffrey Wright is an excellent Commissioner Gordon. He brings something that's very much his own to the role, but he was just an excellent choice, and I can't wait to see more from there. I think one of the surprises for me really was actually Carmine Falcone. I was not expecting John Turturro to be in the movie as much as he was, but he did a lot with the screen time he was given, and I think you might be surprised how important Falcone could be in the story, which when you look at some of the inspiration like Long Halloween and things like that, Falcone has always been a crucial pinpoint in in the Batman stories. He even was in Batman Begins. But this is definitely a different Carmine Falcone than we got in Batman Begins. I want to take a moment to talk about aesthetic. Aesthetic in the Batman universe has always been very important to me. It's one of the few reasons why the Nolan movies don't work as well for me as they do for a lot of other people. Gotham felt like an interchangeable just city. Tim Burton's 1989 Gotham was always my favorite look. I kind of like what they were going for in the Snyderverse, but it also felt very stagey and contrived, and nothing about it felt real. This is a Gotham that both feels real and well realized, and also just otherworldly in a way. Like, it's just such a skeething cesspool, and I love that about it. Talking about the action, you've seen that car chase in the trailers. It's out of this world. It was nail biting. I was on the edge of my seat. I loved it. And the beatdowns that Batman is handing out, they hurt to watch, but they hurt to watch in the best way. Coming from somebody that's like a huge Batman fan, I love to see just the visceral, no hold barred nature of Batman. And that brings me to like some of the arc that we get to see is there's a lot of learning with this Batman. So I think everyone should be patient a little bit. If you wanted a movie that is Batman in his prime, this isn't it yet. He does a lot that's really impressive. We get to see him bring the fear of God into criminals. But there's a lot of growth. And I think that means that this is a really great starting point. That's one of the things that I want to cover is it's not so much a perfect film as it feels like a perfect beginning to a Batman story. There's really a lot of great comic inspirations. I was pointing out to my wife, I was like, hey, that's from Batman Earth 1. That's from Long Halloween. That's from Year One. And seeing that on screen is something that I haven't really gotten from Batman. And one of the reasons that I thought the Nolan trilogy kind of felt like it was lacking. They felt like they were a little afraid to be Batman movies and just kind of wanted to be vigilante movies. This is definitely, at the end of the day, a Batman film. And that's kind of really wrapping up my thoughts on the movie. If you guys have seen it, let me know what you thought down below. Don't spoil it for the rest of the people. If you haven't seen it, there should be a poll in the chat. Let me know how bad you want to see it. If you're anticipating it, if you're kind of like, middle of the road, I would love to hear that. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. We love having new people in this community. And if you haven't already, please like the video and keep an eye out. Next Thursday night, Friday morning, we're going to have a full spoiler review for some other people from the channel that have seen the movie. So looking forward to that. And guys, thank you for joining me. And until next time, keep it real.